A film, My Man Godfrey from 1936. Um, a bit of full disclosure, this is my favorite film of all time, so I'm going to be predisposed to it, but with good reason because it's a fantastic film. Directed by Gregory LaCava and starring the great William Powell as Godfrey. Godfrey, when we come upon him, is a man living on the trash heap by the water in New York City. He is found by Cornelia and Irene Bullock, Irene played by Carol Lombard, Cornelia played by Gail Patrick. They're on a rich person scavenger hunt to find stuff that no one wants, and they have to find a forgotten man. And while he doesn't take well to Cornelia, and she falls upon some ashes, um, after she storms off, Carol Lombard intrigues him, and he goes back with her as her prize, a forgotten man. And at one point, he's slightly humiliated, but at the same time, he's kind of snarky and mocking about the people at the party, as well he should be. This makes Carol Lombard want to take him in as their new butler, which he does for the Bullock family. Mr. Bullock is Eugene Paulette, Mrs. Bullock is Alice Brady, and the two daughters. Also, a frequent at the house is Mrs. Bullock's protege, Carlo, played wonderfully by Misha Auer, who sings a wonderful version and plays, and he really did play the piano Ochichornia, which means black eyes. And wackiness ensues. The whole theme here is it kind of shows you the good side of ordinary people, down on their luck people, of which there were many at that time, and the follies of the wealthy. And they're all presented in different degrees of wackiness, insanity, and irresponsibility. And, I have to mention the actress, not the astrologer, Jean Dixon, as Molly, the maid. She's wonderful. Everyone's wonderful in this. So as the film goes along, and we see Godfrey interacting with the family, and we see Carol Lombard falling in love with him, we come across a link to Godfrey's past, not when he's the current Godfrey Smith, but when he was Godfrey Park, evidently from Boston, quite well to do, who had fallen upon hard times himself, in the form of Tommy Gray, his old friend, interestingly enough played by Alan Mowbray, who was best known for always playing butlers. So William Powell was the butler, Alan Mowbray is the wealthy friend Tommy Gray. And they have a great rapport, very snappy. And it's just a joy to see everyone in here really is like top flight stuff. The script is wonderful. It's a comedy. It's social commentary. It's a romance. It's a wonderful representation of what they call screwball comedy. One of the finest examples of it, in fact. And it should be noted that in real life, Carol Lombard and William Powell were married, but they were divorced about, I think, something like 3 years before this film was made. But they were still great pals, and you can see the genuine affection that the two have. It's in wonderful black and white. It's a little over an hour and a half. It has a great, funny ending. It's worth your time. If you haven't seen it, you really ought to. What else do you need to know about this film? The sets are fantastic. Um, it has a very 30s deco look to all the surroundings. I should also mention that a few years later, there's a great film that's this film sideways, and I highly recommend it as kind of the cousin to this. It's a film called Merrily We Live. I believe it's Brian Aherne in the Mistaken for a Bum role in it. I mean, in this, Godfrey is legitimately down on his luck, hard time living on the dump. But in Merrily We Live, Brian Aherne is a writer mistaken for a hobo and taken in by a no less wacky family with, in fact, Alan Mowbray as their crazy butler. So I would recommend that one, and perhaps I'll get into that in depth at another time. But I think I've told you what you need to know about My Man Godfrey. Lots of snappy dialogue. You get to see the character of Carlo do this gorilla impression that's hilarious, and lots of great lines. You wouldn't know an artist if one bit you. Or Eugene Paulette going, "One of these days I'm going to go gorilla hunting and I won't miss." Uh, it's worth your time. It's worth your dime, as they say. And it's My Man Godfrey from 1936. Beware, do not, do not seek the 1957 remake with David Niven and June Allison. It's horrible. It is worth avoiding at all costs. I love both of them. June Allison and David Niven, there's nothing wrong with them. There's everything wrong with the story. They changed everything. So, yeah, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Watch the real deal. I love you all. This has been a film by Man Godfrey from 1936. Bye bye.